Hello, this is the new project that we will be working on for a few weeks. I wanted to come up with a project that can give us the possibility to explore more of the modeling possibilities in Revit. So I thought of building this country house. This is going to be work in progress, so I am pretty sure that we will be changing things as we get into more detail. But to begin with, this is the general shape of the house that we're going to build. And I uploaded 4 of these views on Blackboard, and you can see where we will be going. So this is one of the isometric views. This is what the house looks like from the other side. And that's another isometric views, and obviously there will be more doors and windows, but we will be building those in the future. And here is the last isometric view. There are also a few handouts showing exterior elevations and floor plans and giving you dimensions. This one, for example, is the east and west, and these are just the elevations for the first assignment, which is going to be to build the walls. And in the second part of the assignment, we will be building the roofs. But for now, we start with the exterior walls and then a few interior walls as well. On the elevation handouts, you can see the levels that we need to set. So let's do this and make sure that you start a new project from architectural template. You must do this. Once the new project is open, you should save it. I will save it as ID 354 Country House, and I will change the backup option to 1 backup. Once I do this, I will go and set my temporary dimensions. Manage, additional settings, temporary dimensions. Walls must be measured to the faces and doors and windows to the openings. And the next thing I will do is I will go in elevation view and set the levels that are shown on the handout. Go to architecture, level. Next step would be to rename the levels and to set the correct elevations. Make sure that when you get this message, would you like to rename corresponding views, always to select the yes option. Once you set the elevations and you rename the levels as appropriate, you can tweak the appearance of the garage roof level. Look at the handout, how it shows it. And you do this when you have levels that are very close, and it may get confusing when you see them close like this. So this is very simple. All you need to do is select the level, and you see this little jog right in here. Click on it, and that creates the jog in the level line. Now, if you grab these dots, you can drag this, and you can adjust it any way you want. And now this is much clearer to see. When you do this though, this is valid only for this elevation. If you go to north elevation, you would have to do it separately on this elevation. This is valid for each individual elevation. Next thing I would do is I would set up my wall types, and on this handout A101 on the ground floor dimension plan, there are the partition types right in here. Let's zoom in. These are the walls that I need to use. I am going to go to floor plan view in order to change the walls. So go to wall command, and there is a 5-inch 2-hour partition. Edit type, duplicate. I will call this type 2. I will use the same numbers that I have in the handout. Okay, then from here I will start and create type number 3. Edit type, duplicate, type number 3, edit structure. Type number 2 had 2 layers of sheetrock. Type number 3 is only 1 layer of sheetrock. So I will remove 1 layer on each side of the wall. Delete and OK and OK. And then duplicate 1 more time. This time is going to be type number 4. This is a typo. This should say type number 4. and partition type number 4 is going to have only one layer of sheetrock on the outside. So stud and one layer of sheetrock, that's a furring partition. Press OK and OK, and I will start in the ground level. This is the handout for the ground level that gives you the dimensions. We're using 18 by 18 columns, and that's the very first thing that I will do. I will go to the columns and create them. Column, architectural, start with 18 by 18, place one column right in there. Now I will select the column and make sure that it goes from ground level all the way up to the roof. The column should go through the entire building. And then I'm going to create a couple of copies. So copy, multiple, one in there, and let's say one somewhere in there. And I will set the dimension between these columns. A very easy way of doing this is to create dimensions. So here's one dimension, and then there's another one, and here's another one, and the dimensions are given to the center line. So I will select this column and move it up, and it's supposed to go 24 foot 6 inches. Then this column is supposed to be 22 feet 6 inches away from the other column, and the last column is 24 feet 6 inches. Okay, I will get rid of all these dimensions, and one thing I will do is I will probably select all these columns and pin them. Use the pin command right in here. So this way I cannot delete the columns. And from here I will start building what I have on this floor plan. This should be fairly easy to you. Wall. Start with the generic 12-inch wall. And I'm going to pick finish face exterior. All I'm going to do is just come up with the generic shape. I'm not going for dimensions here at all. So something like this, and something like this. Okay, so let's start adjusting this. I can do the same thing that I did with the columns. I can use temporary dimensions, or I can use a real dimension from the center of the column to the face, but right now it's defaulting to the center of the wall. This is because right in here it says modify place dimensions to the wall center line. I want this to be wall face, so now I can have the right dimension. Select the wall, change the dimension 9 inches. Okay, go in the other direction, create a dimension, select the wall 9 inches. Okay, actually I noticed that I made a mistake. The 9 inches is not supposed to be to the center line, it's supposed to be to the outside of the column. So this is how you move a dimension. Grab it by this point and drag it to the new location. So now I'm going to reset these values. 9 inches. Okay, that's much better. And I will delete the dimensions, I don't need them anymore. This wall is supposed to be 25 feet from the center of the column. And again, you can do this either by creating a dimension or using a temporary dimension. Notice that the temporary dimension right now is to the outside of this wall. I can drag it to the center of the column and type 25 feet. And keep going until you finish the entire floor. Once you get to this point, make sure that all of these walls go all the way up to the roof. We are on the ground level, but we want to make all these walls go all the way up to the roof. And if we have to make changes, we will as we move on. But for now, let's have them going all the way up to the roof. We have a few more walls to complete. These walls, and if you look on the elevation views, this wall is not going all the way to the roof. This wall is this This is the garage, and it's supposed to be 16 feet 6 inches high. So this is what I will do. Start a new wall. Make sure that it's unconnected, 16 feet 6 inches high, and then create the walls right in there. And once again, I'm not really paying attention at any dimensions right now. All I want to do is get the shape, and then I will look at the handout and set the correct dimensions. So first thing is I can use the align command to align these. Then next thing is set the temporary dimensions. This is supposed to be 25 feet, and this one is supposed to be 30 feet. Okay, close. Now I'm running into this problem that the exterior elevation tag is over here. Not a big problem, just select it and move it out of the way or nudge it with the arrow. So here you go, this is your ground level. Next thing is move on and create the walls on the first floor. Go to the first floor. We still see the walls that we created, and this is the first floor handout. So let's zoom in here and see what's happening. Okay, let's start with this side. This is a bit easier to build. We have the column right in here, so we have partition type number 4 that is aligned with the column, and that's where I will start. I'll go with wall, select type number 4, make sure that I use exterior face, and then I will just go like that. Trim. And then from here use temporary dimensions or real dimensions and start setting where the wall is, 5 feet 9 inches. Then I will continue with the wall command, and using these align options in here I will do something like this. Now I think I need to flip the wall and set the distance of 4 feet. What I suggest here is that you work in thin line setting. So select the thin lines and then select the fine level of detail. So you can see where the sheetrock is. So the sheetrock is on the outside. The double line represents the sheetrock. So this wall now is not facing correctly. So space bar and then make sure that set the correct dimension in here. And then keep going until you build this entire thing. This is how far I got, and make sure that when you build your walls, then they look just like this, that the sheetrock on every wall is on the outside. As you can see, these are all furring partitions, and the sheetrock is only on the finished side. And then on this side I got up to this point. So now what I will do is I will draw this curved wall. So I guess I can do the following. Detail line, DL, use the pick line tool and then type the offset dimension, which is 6'2", 6 feet 2 inches, and then click on this wall. Then change the offset dimension to 5'7" and a quarter, and then use this. So this gives me the center of my wall. This wall is supposed to be partition type number 2, so I will go to the wall command, make sure that I use partition type number 2, and then select this option, arc with a center point. This is the center point right in there. And then I'll just use a big arc just like that. And then the next thing I will do is I will change the actual radius to 23 feet 4 and a quarter. And that's going to give me where this wall is. So now with the trim command and extending, you should be able to complete this. So this wall needs to go a little further. Okay, I will use the trim command. I'm sure I will have to do some work after that in here, but I will come back and fix whatever needs to be fixed. And now I'm pretty sure I made a mistake in here, and you will see what the mistake is. Notice what the levels are. Above the first level I have the garage roof, so by default when you create interior walls they go to the level above. So all of my walls now go to the garage roof, all the walls that are interior walls on the first floor, and that's not what I want. I want them to go to the second floor. So let's see if I'm right. If I go to the first floor and select these walls, yep, they go to the garage level. So make sure that you select all of them and you make them go up to the second floor. And I have a couple of more walls that I have to create in here, very similar to what I did with the other curved line. I will go to detail line, pick tool, and the first dimension is 8'9" off of this wall, and then the other dimension is 7 feet 6 1/4 off of the south wall. So at this point I will go to the wall command. I will set this one to go all the way to the roof because this is going to be like a major element in here. Pick wall type number 4 and pick arc with center. Go right in there. 7'3", and from there just draw this arc. Switch to a straight line right in there and go on the other side. Spacebar, 1'6", and then go back to the exterior wall. Delete these guidelines, and this is the first floor. Let's move on to the second floor. This I will leave to you. You should be able to build this. This long wall in here is aligned with the columns, and these walls, they are in the center line of the column. And you have a 6'3" in here for this little corridor. And this line in here represents the floor, which we are going to change after that. This, if you haven't figured this out yet, this is going to be a stair going to the second floor. But we're going to change this landing later on. For now, we just want to make this landing, and later on we'll change the shape of it. So this space in here is open to the first floor, so your floor should follow this line and on the interior of all these walls. And this is the first assignment. Next week the assignment will be a little more tricky. We're going to go into the roof command. We'll create all the roofs and then modify the walls to attach to the roofs. And then we're going to look into the ceilings and the windows and the doors and on and on and on. This is it for now. Bye.